Imagine this. It's Monday morning. You've set your alarm early, the way you've always wanted to, and today you're determined to get it right. You jump out of bed, lace up your sneakers, and head out for a brisk morning run. The air is crisp, and for a moment, it feels like this could be the start of something life-changing. Today, you tell yourself, is the day everything changes. But by Wednesday, the initial spark starts to dim. You slept in just a little today, rationalizing that everyone needs a break now and then. By Friday, the alarm blares, but you reach over, hit snooze, and drift back to sleep, telling yourself you'll start again on Monday. And this cycle repeats, week after week. Sound familiar? Most of us have been there, caught in the relentless loop of inspiration and defeat. We want to make changes, real, lasting changes, but sticking to them seems nearly impossible. We set goals, visualize the rewards, and for a few days, the fire burns bright. Yet, soon enough, old habits creep back in, and we find ourselves back at square one, waiting for the right time to try again. Why is it so hard to stay consistent? Why is it that the things we want most, the goals we dream about, the habits we know will improve our lives, seem so difficult to sustain? It's because consistency is a skill, not a feeling. Motivation is great for getting us started, but it's fleeting. Consistency, however, is what carries us through, and it's something we have to actively work for every single day. Consider the people we admire: athletes, entrepreneurs, artists. It's not that they have boundless energy or motivation every day. In fact, they probably face the same doubts, exhaustion, and fears we all do. The difference? They've learned to show up regardless of how they feel. They've built the muscle of consistency, even when the thrill has worn off, even when no one else is watching. Today, we're going to explore what it truly means to force yourself to be consistent. We'll dig into the power of showing up, even on the hard days, and discover how to make consistency not just an aspiration, but a way of life. Because the truth is, success isn't a sudden leap forward. It's the accumulation of small, consistent steps. And if you can master this one thing, if you can force yourself to be consistent, you'll unlock a strength within you that most people never find. So let's take a closer look at why consistency is the real key to success and how, step by step, you can train yourself to stay the course, even when the excitement fades and the journey gets tough. Today is the day you stop waiting for the perfect moment and start building a habit that lasts. Consistency is more than a buzzword. It's a powerful force that shapes our lives. At its core, consistency means showing up day after day, regardless of how we feel, regardless of the circumstances. It's not just about having the occasional high moment of achievement or intense burst of effort. It's about creating a steady rhythm in our lives. When we think about consistency, we're talking about the commitment to follow through, even on the days when motivation is low and distractions are high. Imagine the difference between a river and a storm. A storm might be intense and impressive, but it's short-lived and leaves little lasting impact. A river, on the other hand, flows steadily over time, carving through rock and shaping landscapes. Consistency is like that river. It doesn't always look exciting or dramatic, but its power is in its persistence. Little by little, it changes everything in its path. In health, consistency is vital. Going to the gym once in a while doesn't make you strong or fit. Eating healthy for a single day won't improve your overall health. But repeated, consistent choices, small workouts, balanced meals, daily walks, over time lead to significant transformation. Each choice builds on the last, creating habits that stick, and over months and years, you look back and see the remarkable results. The same goes for personal growth. Reading one book or learning one skill may spark a new interest, but it's the act of continuously learning, challenging yourself, and applying what you know that leads to meaningful change. Personal development isn't a one-time project. It's a lifelong commitment. When we're consistent in our pursuit of growth, we start to see gradual improvements that build our confidence, our knowledge, and our resilience. In relationships, consistency is the foundation of trust. Showing up for others regularly, being dependable, and keeping our word are what create strong bonds with the people we care about. A single grand gesture can be memorable, but it's the daily actions, checking in, lending support, listening, that truly sustain connections over the long run. Consistency matters in every area of life. Think about success in business, sports, or any field of achievement. The people at the top didn't just get there by working hard once or twice. They're consistent in their actions, constantly honing their craft, improving their skills, and putting in the work every day. Whether we realize it or not, every little action we take is a step in a direction, either toward or away from our goals. And the more consistent those actions are, the faster we progress. Consistency is crucial because it compounds. Small efforts, when added up over time, produce powerful results. It's easy to underestimate the impact of small, regular actions because they don't show results right away. But over weeks, months, and years, those actions accumulate and create lasting changes that we might never have thought possible. Consistency is about committing to the long term, trusting that each small step is part of a larger journey. Why does consistency matter so much? Because life isn't about isolated efforts or single achievements. It's about what we do day in and day out, the choices we make over and over. It's our habits, our routines, our persistent efforts that define who we become and what we accomplish. And while motivation might kickstart us, it's consistency that carries us through to the end. So, whether you're building your health, developing new skills, growing relationships, or chasing dreams, remember that consistency is the real secret to success. It might feel hard, repetitive, even boring at times, but it's the path to real progress. By committing to show up every day and put in the work, you're not only moving closer to your goals, you're transforming yourself. Consistency, in the end, is the difference between those who wish for success and those who achieve it. If consistency is so powerful, then why is it so difficult to achieve? The truth is, most of us have experienced moments of determination followed by the all-too-familiar fade. We set goals, make promises to ourselves, start with energy and hope, only to find ourselves giving up after a few days or weeks. It's a frustrating pattern, and yet it happens to nearly everyone. So, what's holding us back from being consistent? One of the biggest barriers is fear. We're afraid of failing, afraid of trying hard and still not getting the results we want. We hesitate to commit fully because, deep down, we fear that our efforts won't be enough. So instead, we avoid the hard work altogether, telling ourselves that we'll start someday, but someday is just an excuse, a way to delay action. Consistency requires us to push through this fear of failure and show up even when we're uncertain of the outcome. Another common enemy of consistency is laziness. Let's face it, sometimes it's easier to stay in bed, to scroll on our phones, or to say, "I'll do it tomorrow." Laziness is sneaky because it disguises itself as self-care, convincing us we're too tired or too busy to follow through on our goals. But the truth is, discipline isn't about always wanting to do the work. It's about doing it regardless of how we feel in the moment. Laziness is comfortable, but it keeps us stuck. We have to be willing to push past that temporary comfort to build a habit of consistency. Impatience is another barrier we often overlook. We want results, and we want them now. But the reality is, progress takes time. Consistency is about building brick by brick, and sometimes that process feels painfully slow. We start to doubt ourselves, questioning whether our efforts are making any difference. This impatience causes many of us to quit before we ever see results. We have to trust the process, even when progress is invisible, knowing that every small step counts. Distractions are a massive obstacle in today's world. We live in a time when it's easier than ever to get sidetracked by notifications, social media, and countless other pulls on our attention. Consistency requires focus, and yet we're constantly pulled away from our goals. To be consistent, we have to learn to prioritize, setting boundaries that allow us to stay dedicated to what truly matters, even in the midst of a noisy world. Perfectionism also plays a role in keeping us from being consistent. We think that if we can't do something perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. This mindset leads us to put off tasks until the right moment or until we feel fully prepared, which often results in us doing nothing. But consistency isn't about perfection, it's about progress. We have to let go of the need for everything to be flawless and focus on simply showing up, doing our best, and accepting that some days will be better than others. Another challenge we face is self-doubt. We often question our own abilities, wondering if we're truly capable of achieving our goals. When things get tough, that voice in our head starts to say, maybe this isn't for you, or you're not cut out for this. Consistency requires a strong belief in ourselves, even when doubts creep in. It means pushing through those negative thoughts and showing up, even when we're not sure we can succeed. Then, there's the trap of comparison. We look at others who seem to be progressing faster, who make it all look easy, and we start to feel discouraged. Instead of staying consistent with our own journey, we get frustrated and demotivated, thinking we should be further along. But everyone's path is different, and comparing ourselves only robs us of focus and energy. To be consistent, we have to focus on our own journey, accepting that progress may look different for each of us. Boredom is another barrier we don't often talk about. The path of consistency can sometimes feel mundane. Doing the same actions, day after day, isn't always exciting. We're naturally drawn to novelty, to things that feel new and interesting. But true growth often comes from embracing the mundane, from finding meaning and purpose in the repetition. Consistency isn't glamorous, it's about embracing the grind. Finally, we often struggle with the lack of immediate rewards. Consistency requires patience and delayed gratification, which isn't always easy. When we don't see instant results, it's tempting to quit and move on to something that provides quicker satisfaction. But consistency teaches us that true success isn't about instant rewards. It's about the long-term gains that come from steady effort over time. These barriers, fear, laziness, impatience, distractions, perfectionism, self-doubt, comparison, boredom, and a desire for instant gratification, are real and challenging, but they're also conquerable. Each one of these obstacles can be overcome with the right mindset, a strong commitment, and a willingness to persevere. Consistency isn't easy, but it's within reach if we're willing to confront and push through these struggles. The truth is, everyone faces these barriers. What separates those who succeed from those who fall short isn't that they don't experience fear, doubt, or distraction. It's that they choose to keep going in spite of them. They've learned to force themselves to be consistent, not by avoiding these struggles, but by facing them head-on. And so can you. Consistency doesn't happen overnight. It's built one small step at a time, through the power of tiny habits that, when repeated, create big changes. The truth is, our lives are shaped by our habits, those small actions we repeat day after day. We might not even realize it, but it's these habits that determine our health, our happiness, and our success. If we want to be consistent, we have to start with small, manageable habits and build from there. The science of habit building shows us that it's far more effective to start with tiny actions than to try to overhaul everything at once. In his book Atomic Habits, James Clear explains that habits compound over time, much like interest on an investment. Just as a small deposit grows with regular additions, small, consistent actions grow into remarkable results when practiced consistently. By making tiny changes, we build momentum and slowly begin to see progress. Each small habit we build is like planting a seed that, with time and repetition, grows into something powerful. Why start small? When a goal feels overwhelming, it's natural to avoid it. But when we break that goal down into tiny, achievable steps, it becomes manageable. For example, instead of deciding to work out for an hour every day, start with just 5 minutes of exercise. 5 minutes is easy, almost too small to say no to, and that's the point. It gets you moving, creating a pattern of action. The hardest part is often just starting, and small habits make that start much easier. As we come to the end of this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on the key points we've covered today. Consistency is the backbone of success. It's not about being perfect or always feeling motivated. It's about showing up day after day and doing the work, no matter how small the steps seem. We've learned that consistency is built through small, manageable habits. Now, I want you to think about the future, the person you want to become, the goals you want to achieve. You're not going to get there by waiting for the perfect conditions or by hoping for a burst of motivation. You're going to get there by taking small, consistent steps every single day. It's not about the big, dramatic changes. It's about showing up, doing the work, and pushing through when it's hard. Consistency is a choice you make, and today, you have the power to decide that you will not let excuses or obstacles stop you from being the best version of yourself. It's not easy. It's not always fun, but it's worth it. So, no matter what you're facing, no matter how far you feel from your goal, remember, every small effort adds up. Keep going, keep showing up, and never forget that the person who succeeds is the person who refuses to quit, no matter how tough the journey may get. Force yourself to be consistent, because the life you want is on the other side of your persistence. The habits you build today will create the success you experience tomorrow. So take that first step, take another one, and keep taking steps, no matter how small. Your future self will thank you for the effort you put in today.